Every instrument you've ever heard, every concert, every song on the radio, every hymn in a church has been tuned to the same frequency since 1953. Not because scientists discovered it was optimal, not because musicians voted for it, but because a small group of institutions decided, quietly, officially, that this was the frequency the world would hear. The frequency is 440 Hz. And before 1939, it didn't exist as a standard. So who changed it? And why does it matter what frequency your music is tuned to? That depends on who you ask. The story you were told is clean. The other story is complicated. Every song you have ever heard on the radio, every film score that has ever made you cry, every hymn sung in a modern church, they all have something in common. It is a secret hiding in plain sight. A single thread woven through the tapestry of sound. Since the middle of the 20th century, a decision was made that standardized the building blocks of music. One note, the A above middle C, was set to vibrate at a specific frequency. That frequency is 440 Hz. It became the invisible architecture of nearly all the music we consume. A global tuning fork. A piano in Tokyo sounding the same as a violin in New York. This uniformity feels natural now, as if it were a law of physics. To understand the world we have, we must first imagine the world that was. Before the 20th century, there was no single authority on pitch. The concept of a universal standard would have seemed as strange as a universal language. Music was a local affair, and so was its tuning. An organ built in a German church in the 17th century might be tuned to a dramatically different pitch than one built in Italy during the same period. This variance was not seen as a problem. It was simply the way things were. Each region had its own sonic identity. Sometimes each city did too. This historical patchwork of pitches is well documented. If you were a traveling musician in the 18th century, your job was a constant exercise in adaptation. The pitch in Paris was not the pitch in London. One Royal Courts orchestra could be a full semitone different from another's just a few hundred miles away. A piece could sound bright and sharp in one performance, and dark and mellow in another. This era was a kind of musical Babel, a time of many tongues. The tuning fork, invented in 1711, provided a portable reference, but only for those who used that specific fork. Different makers produced forks at different frequencies. The first major steps toward standardization began in the 19th century. One of the most famous voices in this debate was Giuseppe Verdi. In 1884, he wrote a letter to the Italian government. He argued for the scientific pitch, a set to 432 Hz. Verdi believed this tuning was ideal for the human voice, allowing singers to perform without strain, expressing their full emotional range. As the 20th century dawned, the forces of globalization and technology accelerated the push for a single, worldwide standard. The invention of the phonograph, the rise of radio broadcasting, changed everything. Music could now be transmitted across continents, beamed directly into people's homes. This new reality presented a technical problem. Consistency was no longer a luxury. It was a necessity for the burgeoning mass media industry. The pivotal moment occurred in May 1939. An international conference was hosted by the British Standards Institution in London. Representatives from the United States, France, Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands gathered to settle the debate. After deliberations, they recommended that A4, the A above middle C, should be tuned to 440 Hz. Reports cite contemporary orchestral practices and broadcaster requirements, including the BBC. In 1940, the United States officially adopted 440 Hz. In 1953, the International Organization for Standardization recognized 440 Hz as global standard, ISO 16. From that point on, 440 Hz became the default. The rich, chaotic diversity of historical pitches was flattened into a single, uniform frequency. The official story was complete, practical, orderly, inevitable. But for some, The clean lines of this narrative left too much unexplained. Running parallel to the official account is a second, more unsettling narrative. It is not a story of proven conspiracy, but one of documented facts and chronological coincidences that invite deeper scrutiny. This shadow story also begins in the year 1939. In Nazi Germany, propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels ordered German state radio to standardize at 440 Hz. This is documented in the administrative history of the regime's propaganda apparatus. The radio was not just entertainment, it was a weapon for shaping public consciousness. Every aspect of broadcasting was meticulously controlled. This historical parallel grows more curious alongside another thread: the psychological effects of sound. Foundations funded research into how frequencies affect mood, concentration, and behavior. Place these on a single timeline and a pattern of coincidences emerges. There is no smoking gun, no secret memo proving a grand design. Only proximity, and the unsettling question that lingers: why? To understand the debate between 432 Hz and 440 Hz, we do not need a degree in physics, only a willingness to look and listen. Cymatics, the study of visible sound, shows how specific tones form patterns. Each frequency creates its own unique, beautiful signature, a hidden architecture revealed. Applied to 432 and 440 Hz, observers note a distinct difference. 432 Hz, often more harmonious, coherent, and aesthetically pleasing. 440 Hz patterns are often perceived as less stable, more fractured, or chaotic. This is not a judgment on the sound, but a physical manifestation of its vibrational properties. Another argument is mathematical. Proponents point to 432's relationship to natural ratios. The precessional cycle of the equinoxes is about 25,920 years. Divide by 60, and you get 432. In contrast, 440 Hz lacks those tidy relationships. Advocates claim 432 Hz aligns more with patterns of nature, and, by extension, the human body. These claims are compelling to many, but sit at the edge of mainstream scientific validation. They reflect a worldview that sees music not just as entertainment, but as a fundamental force of nature. Beyond the visual patterns and the cosmic math, can you actually hear a difference? The gap is subtle, only about 8 vibrations per second. Many people might not consciously notice it. Yet in comparisons, a pattern of responses often emerges. Listeners frequently describe the 432 Hz version as warmer, calmer, softer, more peaceful. Many report the music feels more spacious, filling the room more completely. More grounded in the body, particularly the chest and heart area. Conversely, 440 Hz is often described as brighter, tighter, more aggressive, more mental. More focused in the head, more cerebral, less connected to the body. That isn't bad. For certain music, that edge is intentional. But we must be careful. Many studies are small and suggestion can bias results. Still, the consistency of reports points to a subtle but real phenomenon. A difference our bodies seem to perceive, even if our minds don't always register it. The shift in tuning is not just technical, it is emotional. Perhaps the most overlooked aspect is not the frequency itself, but the process by which it was chosen. The decision was not made by musicians or audiences. It was made by a handful of people in a room. They were engineers, industry representatives, government-appointed officials. Their mission? Solve an engineering problem. The voices of performers, composers, and makers, replaced by the pragmatics of radio acoustics. Mass-produced consistency trumped local resonance. The choice was made for the people, but not by the people. Technical standards look neutral, but carry hidden priorities. For decades, 440 was simply taught as correct. Alternatives were forgotten. Power is not just choosing. It's making the choice feel inevitable. We are left standing at the confluence of two rivers, the official story of progress and the shadow story of power. One gives a clean logic for the sound of our world, the other, unsettling coincidences and unanswered questions. We do not have to believe in a cabal to find this troubling. A small, unelected group of technical experts shaped the emotional texture of music for billions. They did not ask the musicians. They did not ask the listeners. Today, technology that once demanded conformity now offers tools for liberation. Any musician, any listener can retune a piece from 440 to 432, or anywhere. You can listen for yourself. You can decide for yourself. The monopoly of a single standard is beginning to crack. We do not have to pick a side in a war of frequencies. We can simply listen. The facts of the past are set in stone, but the sound of the future is ours to create. The only real question is, who benefits most when the public is not part of the conversation? Follow the Frequency Knowledge channel to learn more, subscribe for deeper dives and listening tests. We'll end with a calming 432 Hz melody. As it plays, notice the warm, coherent overtones and slower beating compared to 440. Breathe slowly and listen for the body feel in the chest. Gap 122. Thanks for listening. If you felt the difference, follow the channel and share this with someone curious about sound.